What's going on, y'all? I'm Brady, and welcome to my book nook. If you're new here, thanks for checking out the channel. If you're a returning viewer, love you and thank you for returning, as always. So, like I said, today we are talking about my June TBR. So, I love making these TBR videos because it's always exciting to sit back and see what you got, make your plan for the month ahead, and kind of just work through that. It's one of those very goal-oriented, like you can be like, check that box, check that box. And it's one of those, if you don't get them, you don't get them. That's how it goes. And it's not that big a deal. So I love making these videos. They're a blast. So I'm excited to share with you guys what I'm reading this month. So I feel like it's summertime. Now we're getting into June. So I try to orient myself around the seasons and stuff. Kind of read what feels good with the season. So I had to change my TBR because what I was going to read versus what I'm currently reading quite drastically different. So my TBR now is a lot different than it was about a week ago. So I'm trying to go with that. So we'll start off by showing you some of the books that I was diving into last month and we'll dive into this month. I'm just going to show them because I talked about them a lot in my May wrap-up video. So that would be these right here, Shakespeare's Sonnets, the works of John Keats, Walt Whitman's selected poetry, the poetry of Robert Frost, Hemingway's short stories, and Emily Dixon's poems. So, like I said, those are going to be things I keep reading, keep checking out. They're not an everyday thing. They're here and there, wherever I'm feeling. But these are going to be some of the works I'm adding to them. So these first two I'm going to show you are kind of coupled together for a reason. And I might do a reading challenge with these. So that is John Milton's Paradise Lost and the Bible. So I'm not super well versed in the Bible. I'm not really a religious person. But this John Milton's Paradise Lost is about like the story of creation and the fall of man, and it's considered one of the greatest works in the English language. It's up there, probably top 10 at least. So it was something I was really excited to check out. But I don't really know the creation story that well. So I'm going to be coupling these two together and kind of reading them and going through, diving in. And this is broken into 12 books. So it might be something I try to work through at least a book a month doing. Because I don't want to sit down and try to go through that all at once. I want to kind of let it seep into my life and kind of get a good understanding that way. Next up, I'm going to be diving in and out of the Canterbury Tales a lot this month. Just again, as I've been reading a lot of modern books, I've been trying to get back into classic literature, and I feel like I owe it to all modern writings and the classics that come before it to return to the original text of the English language and of just literature in general. So this month I'm going to be trying to check out some of the Canterbury Tales and read through, because I believe this Chaucer's Canterbury Tales kind of preserved the English language as a whole. This is one of the few works from Middle English that we have available. So, like I said, it's one of those classics that is on everybody's book bucket list, I feel like. And I'm going to start working through it. You know, they're nice because it's broken up into individual tales. It's not something I have to remember what was going on. It's very much more like I can read this tale here, this tale there, and kind of slowly work my way through it over the next probably rest of the year, because I don't intend on setting down and just trying to bulldoze that, really. Kind of just want to let it come to me as it does. Next up we have, and this is a book I've been reading and I will continue to read for the foreseeable future, and that is Marcel Proust's In Search of Lost Time. This is volume 1, Swan's Way. And this is just, I believe it's one of the longest novels ever. I think so these are pretty thick little volumes, and there's 7 of them. But they're gorgeous, and it's very dense. I normally read a couple pages at a time, no more than that, because he could only write 2 or 3 pages at a time. So if he could only write that much and he knew what was going on, how am I supposed to read more than that and understand anything? So, like I said, it'll be something I continue to read, and I want to get more into this month and make it more habitual in that as I work through it and kind of just explore one of the most expansive novels of all time. Now, on to my actual TBR. I know that took a little while, but I just love sharing those things with you. So let's start off. First book I'm reading this month is Wrath, which is book 4 of the Faithful and the Fallen series. I'm finally finishing the series up. I'm getting done with it. It's happening no matter what. I don't care if it takes me all month. I'm finishing this. I'm getting this series done. So this is going to be the first book I read, and I'm kind of swinging off that momentum of finishing book 3 on May 31st. So I finished it last day, really got into the story then, read that last little chunk, and I'm ready to dive on, keep swinging on through with that. Then I'm finally going to start something I've been trying to start forever, and that is the Witcher series. So like I said, I know I've talked about this before, but I'm going to tell you again. I've read the 3 books that you can read before starting the mainline series, and I keep being like, well, I don't want to start another series. Well, I'm finishing one. So I'm finishing Book of the Faithful and the Fallen, so it's time for the Witcher's Day in the Limelight. So I'm going to be reading Blood of Elves this month, checking it out. I'm excited. Love that universe. I've loved the 2 short story collections and then the prequel novel. So I can't wait to see where it goes and where it takes me. Also love the show, so I'm hyped for that. Next up, book 2 of Akhtar. So this is A Court of Mist and Fury. So I'm kind of reserving myself the right. I'm told that I'm going to fall in love with this series because of this book. I'm told that I'm going to obsess over this book, but we will see. I'm sure it's excellent. I really enjoyed the first one, and from what I hear, I believe the first line already has piqued my interest because I kind of glanced at it after I finished book 1. So with the way book 1 ended, it's tackling some very character developing moments, which I'm excited to see. Seems like they're going to be addressing in book 2. But I don't know. Maybe I'll fall in love with this series after reading this book and just have to finish books 3, 4, and 5. We'll see. I always reserve that for myself because sometimes things take over like that, and that's just how it goes. So I'm sure I'm going to love this book. I don't know if I'll start reading the rest of the series this month, but there's a chance. You never know. I'm pretty haphazard when it comes to stuff like that. Next up, we have 7 Lives of Evelyn Hugo. This is the book club book for the one that Emma Bear has so kindly generated for us. So I will be checking out this book that I've heard incredible things about. I know people love this book. This is one of those book talk books. This is all over Insta. Everyone who's read it is eating it up. So this is also one of the books that I don't know why, just the premise, the style of it, seems like a book I'm going to give 5 stars. I hope I'm right. I'd be sad if I was wrong. But hey, that's how it goes. Next up, like I said, very summary, classic lit book. So I'm diving into Pride and Prejudice. This will be the first work of Jane Austen's that I've read. So I'm very excited to check it out, see what she's got to offer. And I mean, obviously, there's not much to say about this book. This is one of the most popular novels in the last 200 years. I mean, what more can I say about it that hasn't been said? I'm just very excited to finally understand what all the hype is about and kind of check it out. All right, next up. Like I said, really got into Hemingway last month and stoked to check out some of his works. So I had read The Old Man and the Sea when I was a sophomore in college. So I loved that. It was just it's brief, it's very touching, very symbolic, and very focused in on that symbolism, and I really enjoyed that. So I'm going to revisit it and see if I like it as much, if not more, now that I'm a lot more adept in reading and kind of understanding symbolism and looking for things. I think it's going to be even better on a reread. Yeah. So we'll be excited to check The Old Man and the Sea out. I'm also going to check out A Farewell to Arms because this is one of those classics from Hemingway that I feel like I need to read at some point in my life, and now it just feels like the right time. I'm on a Hemingway kick. I'm really getting simpatico with him at the moment, and I'm just ready to check it out and see what this author is all about. Next up, we have my Shakespeare for the month, which is King Lear. So, from what I understand, when you're talking about Shakespeare's great works, you got Hamlet and you got King Lear. And then like Macbeth is a little down here. But of his masterpieces, this is top tier. This is vying for #1 spot. This is vying for best play of all time. And I'm just stoked to check it out. I genuinely have no idea what this play is really about. I've avoided all plot spoilers just from sheer ignorance. And I'm stoked, honestly. This just seems like one of those that's going to be wild. And like I said, I bought this nice little edition. I may have spoken on these before, but these are definitely editions. If you're trying to get into Shakespeare, you should get. And I'll tell you why. So, this is the Spark Notes one, so it's No Fear Shakespeare. And in it, you have the original text on the left side of the page, and then it has a modern translation text on the right. So it's very helpful. Obviously, Shakespeare is going to talk over your head. There's going to be things you get, there's going to be things you don't understand. And that's just something you got to roll with. If there's something you're really caught up on, something you just have no idea, you can't work out with context clues, it's great to have that immediately right beside you so you can just glance over, get what you need, and go right back to your reading, which is something that I didn't have too much trouble with in Romeo and Juliet. But they also put these little notes on the other side, on the modern text side, which help a lot. Because there's some things I just legitimately had no idea about, like older traditions and like specific types of fruits and stuff that were like supposed to be jokes. That would be like common knowledge back then, just kind of lost knowledge to us now, like is not modern. And next up, we have a book that I heard there is a lot of controversy around, but it was Book of the Month's 2016 Book of the Year. So I'm stoked to check it out. And my sister recommended this one to me. She said that she thought I would really enjoy it, which I don't know. When she tells me she thinks she's really going to enjoy something, it's probably going to be involving some taboo stuff and some stuff that's a little like dicey, controversial, things that are going to be pushing the boundaries and making you think. So thanks for that recommendation, Brooke. And that is Bryn Greenwood's All the Ugly and Wonderful Things. I'm not 100% sure what this is about. I know it's kind of about this young girl who grows up in like a meth lab area and was around a lot of like drugs and stuff as a young child, and kind of has this relationship with a older individual who's kind of like been around her whole life and has kind of been like a protector. And I think he's like one of like the drug runners or drug dealers or something like that. I'm probably doing a poor job in butchering this, but at the end of the month, I'll be able to give you a more apt description of the book. Or you can look into it yourself, because it may, like me saying some of these things may have piqued your interest. I don't know. So that's what I'm reading this month. There's a few other works I might throw in. We'll see. Might have to check out some other things. And I don't know how much I'll actually get done reading this month. I have a few big things going on. I'm moving, which I'll be excited. I'll finally have a nice little setup, because I'll get some bookshelves, and I'll have a good little recording area, have a little reading nook in our new apartment, which I'm stoked for. Got a basketball tournament that I'm participating in, just stuff like that. So I don't know, this may be a month I have to trim back my reading. The weather's nice. I mean, it's hot, but I might be a little more outdoorsy now that we kind of have some really nice weather. So, like I said, we'll see. I think I'll be able to crank out this TBR for the month, but you never know. Things happen. That's what next month's for. So, like I said, what are you all reading this month? Are you reading anything the same as me? Are you reading anything I've read? Are you reading anything on my future TBR? Let me know down below. I would love to hear what you are reading, what you have read, what you got coming up reading. Just let me know, and I will talk to you guys in the next video. But until next time, stay reading, y'all.